Why is it called the Ridge Campus? Well, probably you think it's because it sits on Pleasant Ridge Road, and certainly that's part of it. But there is more to the story.
God told me, go to Greensboro to start this church. Hi, I'm David Tolbert, and my wife's name is Sherry. What an incredible blessing she is. She loves Jesus a lot more than she loves me. And just a little over a year from when I got that call, I'd sold my house, I'd sold my real estate, I'd sold a CPA firm, and we moved to Greensboro. Went very well, and we were able to rent a private school, a nice auditorium at a private school just 2 miles down the road, just 2 miles down Pleasant Ridge from where this campus is. And we were running about 80 to 100 people at the time. After we were probably 2 years in, 40 acres right next door came open. It was for sale. And God said, buy that land. And I'm like, God, we're 80 people. We don't need 40 acres of land. But God just put it all together. And I ended up with 7 acres of land and a nice house, built a nice big room on the back of the house so we could have our worship services. And that was the first 4 or 5 years of how we rocked along there. We had the congregation really praying and just looking for God. What do you want us to do with our people and our resources? We've got this land. We've got incredible people. But we don't want to be a stagnant church. We want to really be on mission for you, for the kingdom. And so one of our elders, Philip Hoffman, his daughter was going to the summit over in Raleigh. He said, I don't know, guys, but I think we're onto something here. You need to meet Andrew Hopper and Bobby Harrington.
We learned about Summit Church planting a new campus or a church in Greensboro, and so we got very excited about it, and we decided, like, let's go see who this is. So we heard that Andrew Hopper, who was going to be the planting pastor, was doing his last sermon, if you will, down at Summit Church. And so we went to the church and saw Andrew, and took a friend of mine with me, and we were like sitting there, we're going, oh, wow, this is pretty amazing. I think I could follow this guy. This guy could be my pastor.
In the spring of 2012, I was tired, okay? We were working full-time at the Summit Church in Raleigh-Durham. We were raising money and a launch team and trying to get anybody that would help us plant Mercy Hill Church later that year. And man, I was kind of wore out. And our family decided we're going to take a small weekend away to try to recharge a little bit. Nothing like recharging in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, okay? You take Myrtle Beach and you just slap it right in the middle of the Smokies. But that's where we decided to go. And so we're going to head to Pigeon Forge. And that morning, actually, I got a call from a guy named Philip Hoffman. We affectionately referred to him as the Hoff from then on, but his name was Philip Hoffman. And he called me and he said, hey, man, I really want to meet with you today. And I was like, hey, dude, can't meet today. I'm on a mission to get my family to Pigeon Forge today. And he said, you really, really are going to want to meet me. He said, I've got some things I want to talk to you about our church and your church, and maybe there's some resourcing, and our church might be trying to wind down. And so I was in that church planner mode, entrepreneurial mode. It's like, hey, man, if somebody's going to help us, I need to take the time. So I talked to Anna and I said, hey, babe, this guy wants to meet us. She's like, no, we're going on vacation. And then I said the magic words. He said he would treat us to Chick-fil-A. And then I got an immediate yes. Okay. So we end up jumping in the car. We go and we meet this guy. I didn't know him at all, but he turned out to be a really awesome dude. And his story was this. He was an elder of a church right here in the Triad that was starting to wind things down. The lead pastor had come in 10 years before that. The church had obviously had a heyday, and God had moved mightily among them. But the church was moving on to a new season, and they were thinking that maybe the best thing for them to do with a kingdom mindset was to find a church like maybe a Mercy Hill and try to sow some resources into that church and just join in. Take the people that they had that were loyal, faithful, serving people, and jump in and try to help something new get off the ground.
David Tolbert, which is our senior pastor, had found out that the Summit was going to be planting a church here in Greensboro. And him and one of the other pastors there at the church had talked to Pastor Andrew about what was going on, and him and Bobby came down. Between the two of them, they kind of explained, what their vision was for Mercy Hill. And after those weeks that we heard them teaching, then we voted as a congregation to go ahead and go with Mercy Hill.
But once we realized who God had put us in touch with, the Hoppers, Anna and Andrew, and then the Harringtons and the Dagers, we saw how gifted they were, how well trained they were, and that God had helped them gather up 30 of the most amazing sold-out believers that were coming over from Raleigh. And we were like, at that point, we were like, okay, the Calvary has arrived.
They wanted to come together for the sake of the kingdom. They wanted to donate and leverage whatever it is that they had. At that time, all they had told us that they had was some gear and some people. But these people were awesome. They went on to be pillars in our church in terms of serving. And so we decided, hey, you guys come under our leadership and you guys throw in with what we're doing, and we're going to see God do more together than maybe we saw him do separately. And so it was an incredible thing. Man, the main thing that we got out of that merger opportunity right there at the beginning of our church was some incredible people. I think of people that serve now. The Doziers have been such a part of our worship culture and our kids' culture for over 12 years now. We have seen, other families come in, the Masters, the Kuntz, that have been so integral in helping shape different parts of our ministry. Like I said, David and Sherry Tolbert, they were part of that original crew that came in and have just been awesome here and have been really a light in our church. I think of John Azzarello. John Azzarello, who has been our worship leader, main worship leader for the last 12 years. Their family was a part of that merger. And actually, they had another church that was offering them a job when that merger was happening, and we couldn't do that, but they really felt like God is moving us to join up with Mercy Hill. And so we just got some incredible people, loyal, faithful to the mission, and have been with us for 12 years.
And we were really deeply longing for a church that was gospel-centered, because we had never been in one that fit kind of that mold. And so all that to say, we were kind of at this other church, and then John came home after he heard Andrew and Bobby come and kind of cast their vision.
Yeah.
John came home and was like, we have to go to this other church. Like, we have to go there. They can't pay us. We're not going to get any money, but we need to go there. And for me, I honestly was the one with the faith struggle, because in my head, I'm like, but we are going to get a free house and money over here, and that's what we really need in this life phase. And he was like, we can't sell our souls for money at this stage in life. Like, I think those were his exact words.
Yes.
He was like, we need to go. I feel like God wants us at Mercy Hill.
Basically, we sold the property that we had as a church and rolled that into be able to help out Mercy Hill at the very beginning, which helped some of them be able to come on staff sooner than what they had originally thought they were going to be able to.
Of course, the other thing that we got that they didn't tell us about at that time was that they were sitting on $200,000 cash that they were going to sow into whatever church it was that they merged with. And man, we didn't know that at the time when we were walking with them, but whenever they revealed that to us, man, our hearts were thrilled. They donated that money to us, and we used it mightily. Y'all, we wouldn't have been able to get into our first location as quick as we did. We would not have been able to bring on Pastor Bobby and Pastor Jeremy full time as quick as we did. Them donating that money gave us the freedom to be really risky in the first couple of years of Mercy Hill Church, and God just really blew on that and blessed it, and we have seen so much fruit come from their donation. So back to my original question, why the name The Ridge? Y'all, Mercy Hill would not be what it is if we had not seen that kingdom investment of people and time and talent and treasure. We would not be where we are today if we had not seen a movement before us that wanted to live with open hands. Do you know what that church was called and where it was? It actually set north on Pleasant Ridge Road, and that church was called The Ridge.
When you came home and told me, you won't believe they're going to name the new campus The Ridge. And I thought about all the years that David and Sherry had been pouring their hearts into everybody at the church, and just how God has this huge perspective. You know, it's a tapestry. He's weaving we can't see, but he's weaving the tapestry of how this little church for years and years over on Pleasant Ridge Road.
To think about the Ridge as it is going to be, or as it is, and the small little house that the Ridge Church was in before we folded and sold it. It's quite a juxtaposition.
When they told us that it was going to be called the Ridge, I was actually up on the stage when they were doing the anniversary celebration, and I had no idea. And when they first said that, I thought, holy cow, that is so incredible that Pastor Andrew would want to remember this humble little church that was able to have a part of what Mercy Hill is now.
There was just such a core group of people there that were just open-handed with so much of their gifts and talents and the church's resources and things that they were willing to say, hey, we want to use this to leverage it to see something else be built.
I love getting to honor the people at the Ridge this way because, as Rachel said, like, man, just when it felt like things were dying and things were ending, it's like, man, that was a seed that, again, they saw, they had the faith and the wherewithal to be able to invest it into kingdom work. And so now to see the Ridge flourishing and to be, you know, a much bigger campus than the Ridge Church, you know, ever could have dreamed is just honestly just truly amazing.
It's not about me, it's about the kingdom and multiplying the kingdom as rapidly as we can. And just so thankful that I got to be part of it.
When I knew that we were going to grab this land that I'm standing at now and have the chance to get it and build our future home and hub on it, and it was right on Pleasant Ridge Road, man, I really felt like I knew what the name needed to be, and I brought it to our executive team, and I said, guys, the name of this campus needs to stand for so much more than just the location that it is. It needs to stand for this principle that says, man, we can do more together than we can separately, and that we constantly need to have this posture in our heart of open hands. It needs to stand for a principle that no matter where you are in life, no matter where we are as a church, God was at work long before you ever got there, and He's going to be at work long after you're gone.